Also, when we think about gas stations, what comes to mind? Fuel pumps, glowing price signs, maybe the smell of gasoline. But what if I told you that the big danger there is completely invisible, hidden, right under our feet? And the solution for it is genuinely brilliantly simple. Let's be honest, what do you think? What's the most dangerous thing about a gas station? Most people would probably say the fuel pump itself right now, right? Or that huge tank underground? Sounds logical, but it's not. The right answer will probably surprise you. It's not just the fuel pump, but these invisible shafts and sumps of the dispensers directly underneath. The problem is namely, gasoline vapors are heavier than air. So they basically seep downward, almost like water, and collect in these cavities. And that's exactly where a ticking time bomb develops. An invisible, highly explosive atmosphere. Experts call that an X zone. Okay, let's take a closer look at what actually happens down there. Why is this a danger? The science behind it really isn't rocket science. We are talking about the so-called fire triangle, and that's basically the perfect recipe for a catastrophe. You need 3 ingredients. First, fuel, so the gasoline vapors. Second, oxygen, obviously. It's already in the air anyway. And third, an ignition source. And even a tiny little spark is enough. Well, and in these shafts, all 3 can come together very quickly. Of course, the authorities know this. They're not born yesterday. That's why there are strict regulations, for example in Austria, that very clearly state, these sumps or shafts defined as X zones must be filled. The idea behind it is simple. You simply remove one ingredient from the catastrophe recipe. And what have people been doing for years? They just poured sand in. Sounds logical, right? Cheap, simple, perfect? Well, not quite. As it turns out, sand is actually not a really good idea and creates far more problems in the long run than it solves. Just look at this. The difference is really striking. Left, that's the reality with sand. Everything is rusted, dirty, simply a nightmare for anyone who has to work down there. And right, that's the modern solution. Clean, safe, tidy. You immediately see what the better choice is here, don't you? At first everyone thought, great, sand is cheap, it's everywhere, what could possibly go wrong? But reality looks different. What you save at the beginning, you pay back double and triple later. Why? First, maintenance. Every time someone has to go down there, it means shoveling out sand, laborious and time-consuming. Second, corrosion. Sand stores moisture. The metal starts to rust and breaks down. And the real hammer comes at the end. When the sand gets contaminated with gasoline or oil, it has to be disposed of as hazardous waste. That happens in 90% of cases. Contaminated sand is hazardous waste, and disposing of it is really, really expensive. So anything but a good solution. But fortunately, there is a much, much better solution. A modern technology that simply eliminates all these disadvantages of sand. And it's called eXess. A purely mechanical fire and explosion protection as filling material. It works where it is installed, without additional power or control. Completely autonomous. Instead of loose filling material at the dispensers, the convenient eXess Gebinde form is used for dome or service shafts. For example, 12 pieces are sufficient for 1 cubic meter of fuel space. Installation in prepared dome shafts takes just a few minutes. The same applies to removal. So the principle is brilliantly simple. eXess works like a flame arrestor for pipelines, only eXess is designed for containers and shafts. Problem solved. But it goes even further. Even if something inside ignites, an explosion is suppressed and a subsequent flame cannot spread quickly. They essentially slow the whole thing down. An explosion and its consequences are nipped in the bud. It all sounds great in theory, but how does it work in practice? Is it complicated? Quite the opposite. One of the biggest advantages is how incredibly simple and safe the whole process is. So here's how it goes. First, the shaft is professionally cleaned. Second, specially trained and manufacturer-authorized personnel come and install eXess as bulk material or in the convenient Gebinde form in the shafts. Installation and removal take just a few minutes. And third, the operator receives an official certificate. Done. And this certificate is not just any document. It is the official proof for the authorities. Everything here is safe. Everything is according to regulations. But, and this is the key point, it also comes with liability insurance coverage attached. That means the operator not only has safety, but also the financial protection in black and white. And now think back to the sand, the laborious shoveling. Forget it. When maintenance is needed here, eXess is simply taken out. No mess, no time loss, and above all, no expensive disposal costs. So now we come to the point that is probably the most important for many. What does the fun cost? Isn't this brilliant solution unaffordable? The answer might surprise you. And just so we're clear, this is not some brand new, untested thing. In Austria, for example, where the rules are really strict, already 80% of all gas stations have been retrofitted. 80%. That's quite a statement and clearly shows that the system has proven itself, also economically. Conclusion: no gas station operator in Austria uses sand as filling material anymore. And now hold on tight. The investment calculated over the service life for this top safety costs the operator only 0.0003 euros per liter of gasoline sold. That's a tiny fraction of a cent, an amount you practically don't even notice. And in return, you get a huge plus in safety and save real money in the long term. So let's summarize again. For the operator it means less time spent on maintenance, no expensive repairs due to rust, no insane costs for hazardous waste disposal. In return, he gets certified safety with insurance coverage. And most importantly, he protects his customers and his employees and personally shields the responsible managing director from criminal liability in the event of an incident. It doesn't get any better than that, does it? This quote here really hits it perfectly. It's not about spending money on safety, it's about investing in your own gas station, protecting its value, and ultimately even saving money. A strikingly simple solution for a really serious problem. And that's exactly why it is the standard today and thus the state of the art. A safe and clean solution. A benefit for everyone.